What's up guys, welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
One of them, Clayman, had also been a close friend of Yuki. When they heard Yuki's query, Kigali, Laplace, Tyr, and Footman all adopted a different attitude. They fixed Damrata in their gaze and looked at him as if they would not stand for any deceit. Damrata responded in a cool manner despite the threatening circumstances.
I have no connection to the Clayman case. I know who did it, but I never anticipated him to use such drastic steps.
There was a brief period of stillness until Yuki broke it.
It's Tatsuya Kondo, right? You seem to be quite knowledgeable about Kondo. You appear to be hiding a lot, so do you believe it's fair to ask us to put our faith in you?
Damrata remained quiet as Yuki made his claim to him. Damrata listened to him while displaying a troubled look. He listened for a while without responding, then he spoke a short while later.
I'm sorry, but I'm not allowed to respond to all of your inquiries. I can only admit that I'm not completely familiar with Kondo's talents. I kindly ask that you take my word for it, to save Rudra, the Majesty.
Damrata was deeply affected by the clown's icy looks as he said those remarks. Everyone wore a distrusting expression. This also applied to Yuki. Even for Yuki and his buddies, the scenario at hand was not promising. They were unable to ignore Damrata's men from outside the room who were waiting outside the facility. Some of the strongest Imperial Knights must have been with Damrata. Even Yuki and the others found it challenging to escape from such a tight confinement. We won't all make it, but I can manage on my own. If so, one choice is to accept the idea as it is right now, Yuki estimated. He then abruptly discovered Damrata's eyes were fixedly staring at him. Since they first met, his eyes had not changed. Yuki closed his eyes and started to reflect on the past. Damrata had been reckless and bold ever since they had first met, agreeing to anything as long as it was paid for with gold. He was a man of contradictions, though, and was prepared to risk his money for the sake of his pals.
I'm prepared to make any sacrifice for the people I hold dear,
Damrata stated once. He was curious as to who Damrata's eyes were reflecting at the time. Not me, though. However, those eyes were appealing to me. He swore his allegiance to Yuki and addressed him as boss. But Damrata still possessed a bit of an unreliable side. He must have felt sad, now that he thinks about it. When Yuki became aware of this, he opened his eyes and stared at Damrata.
There is a lie in what you say. Long before you pledged allegiance to me, you swore allegiance to Emperor Rudra. That remains the same. That's correct, right?
I can't beat you, boss.
That mutter was a nod of approval. Instead, it encouraged Yuki to put his faith in Damrata.
Okay, let's make the coup successful rather than fighting you folks here.
Nobody voiced any disagreement with Yuki's choice.
I have no other option. We will comply if Yuki-sama orders it.
I suppose so. If you turn on us, Damrata-san, we'll make things right.
I'll assist you as well, Laplace.
Please remember me.
The clowns choose their course of action at this point. They chose to have faith in Yuki, their leader. A sense of camaraderie existed. And among them was Damrata.
Volume 14, Chapter 1, Rewards and Evolutions, Part 1.
The following day, about 700,000 Imperial soldiers had resurrected. The men who had actively participated in the defense were lined up in the Colosseum. The remainder of the soldiers occupied the bleachers. A celebration of triumph was held today. Although it was meant as an essential morale booster, the fight against the Empire was still going on. Bacchus, who was dispatched by the Holy Knight Order, and the surmounters under the command of Ruminas were also present. Fortunately, they had been in the labyrinth when Jiwoo killed them. They were brought back to life, and the excuses were accepted. Even if they all agreed that it was just a result of inexperience, it nonetheless happened in our nation, and formality is crucial. In any event, I was relieved that there wasn't much damage. I hoped that everyone would thoroughly enjoy the great cuisine we planned to offer in the second half of the party. There were visitors from other nations seated in the guest of honor seats. In addition to Alvis, who engaged in the defense as a reinforcement, Phobio and 2 members of the 2 wings arrived with the elite contingent later.
Frey-sama sent us because Milim-sama was anxious and restless. But as I already stated, it was unnecessary. Rimuru-sama was going to triumph in the end, we were certain of it.
Claire, who had silver hair, and Lucia, who had blonde hair, spoke to me in overlapping, lovely tones. Milim may have been concerned as a result of my actions, but I have no doubt that she will feel comforted after learning of this success. Veldora and Ramirez have secured the town's safety, and we will soon be free to resume our regular lives.
I serve as the liaison. For the unlikely event that the magic communication had failed, I was sent here. And, no, I apologize, I'm being impolite.
If we were to lose, Phobio said he would return right away to deploy reinforcements. Phobio, who was the fastest, was chosen due to the likelihood that the Magicule's force field would be disrupted and magic could not be employed. After that, he started to say something but stopped. The way he stared at Alvis worried me, but I opted to ignore it because I thought he had already taken care of things. After thanking the three of them, I led them to the table with the prominent visitors. Then came a different group. A Dwargonian guest of honor was also present. The chief archwizard in Dwargon was an elderly woman named Jane. Dolph San, commander of the Pegasus Knights, served as a guard as well. This person was mostly here to voice complaints. In the Great Jura Forest, she said, don't cast any spells that are forbidden. More than that, she was enraged with me and her eyes changed as she questioned me about why I was carrying a primordial. To be completely honest, I also regret that. But there is no stopping it. It was an unstoppable force majeure that had me there before I could even recognize it.
Force majeure is not the issue. In my entire life, I have never been more shocked and amazed.
I apologize.
I had no choice but to apologize. Anyhow, I made an effort to calm her down, explain things to her, and cheer her up, and somehow or another, she agreed. Jane San was supposed to meet with me later, even though I really wanted her to go home. Actually, that was the main reason for the trip. There were still 60,000 troops under Yuki's command stationed in front of the Dwargon capital in the east. War has not started and emotions have been high, ever since they learned that we are in a loose agreement with Yuki. But we can't just let things remain as they are. I needed to talk to Yuki regarding the future strategy. I had freed the imprisoned Laplace and given him a letter from me. We were now awaiting a response from Yuki. Jane San and Dolph San received invitations to the guest of honor's table as a result. They were invited to attend the victory party. So, with foreign visitors present to witness the occasion, the victory party got underway. I was standing on the podium, one step above the others. In my slime form, I was there seated on a chair. Standing side by side behind me was Rigard and Rigger. The government servants were on either side of me, with these two men at the top. The elite 10 of the dungeon, whose faces were rarely seen, were among those lined up beneath us. Given that they were the day's celebrities, it was only natural. It was generally not a good idea for them to reveal their faces because they were the labyrinth's bosses. Not today though. The reason for this was that the adventurers and villagers who made up the volunteer army were not invited. Shuna, who was first to appear, was next to me. She began her message with my words before giving the audience a speech of comfort. I didn't actually come up with that speech, but it was a really good one. All of it was Shuna. Compared to the first or second secretaries, Shuna is a superior secretary. She has been a huge help to me because I struggle with public speaking. Xian isn't very good at speeches, and the idea of Diablo doing one is unnerving because his laudations for just me alone would continue until the celebration was done. I thanked Shuna for coming and started to consider what should come next. I was going to acknowledge and reward the others during this victory celebration. In other terms, I was going to assess my subordinates' awakening. By giving my servants 100,000 souls, according to Wisdom King Raphael San, they will awaken and develop into being as powerful as a true demon lord. Only those who meet the requirements are permitted, but shockingly, 12 people did. They were Benimaru, Xian, Ranga, Gabel, Geld, Diablo, Testarossa, Ultima, Carrera, Adelman, Kumara, and Zijin. It appears that they required both the Demon Lord seed and a soul link with me. I was most interested in Adelman. He wasn't named, so how did he meet the requirements for evolution?
Answer. Individual Adelman's faith has passed a critical point, and the Master's link is now solidified.
Oh, I shared with Adelman the secrets of trust and grace that Ruminas had taught me. That gave him a link that was just as strong as a given name. Adelman, that's excellent. He appears to have a lot of confidence in his ability to earn the qualification on his own. Being the object of his faith is a little uncomfortable for me, but I respect him for it. I could understand Adelman's situation. How many different persons can I evolve into, then? I did the math and discovered that I had just over 1 million souls in my possession. The fact that I have Wisdom King Raphael San is the key to this.
Proposal. The acquired results corroborated individual variances. Do you desire a uniform reconstitution? Yes, no.
I answered, yes, when asked without even knowing what it meant. The number of souls increased to almost 1 million at that point. The Imperial officers who had been revived received a lot of energy back from me. I therefore anticipated that the number would be somewhat lower, but the outcome was the exact opposite. Numerous powerful individuals had attacked the labyrinth, along with numerous awakened individuals like Calgario. They were more energetic than normal, and even though it was borrowed, they used a lot of Jiwoo and Bernie's energy who possessed the ultimate skill. It's possible that each person contained the soul force of dozens to tens of thousands of others. 10 persons might thus be awakened as a result. However, attempting this raised several questions. The first was information leakage. Was it okay to perform such a flamboyant act in front of visitors like Alvis and Jane? But on this I decided to believe them. I believed they would discover the truth regardless of our alliance. Milam cannot be duped, and King Gazel had faith in me when I was dealing with Diablo at the moment. Now that everything about the labyrinth was known, it didn't matter if Jane-san was really upset with me. There would eventually be unnatural reports regarding the might of the labyrinth group's bosses. Everyone in attendance believed that keeping it a secret would be pointless. The second thing that worried me was that I wasn't sure what would happen. There was a chance that something unexpected would occur because this was my first attempt at the process of awakening. Ramirez's power allowed me to isolate the entire Colosseum as a result. This would stop the harm from transferring outside. It was a 2-for-1 solution because it would also ensure confidentiality. The last issue was the Evolutionary Harvest Festival, which would happen just like when I awakened as a demon lord. In my situation, I entered a state of low-level activity, sleep mode, and remained unconscious for 3 days. The chief executives of our group would do the same throughout this period of conflict. Given that they would be unable to accomplish anything for 2 or 3 days, I was concerned that something would happen to them. This concerned me a little, but I figured it wouldn't be an issue either. The Imperial Army no longer existed. The Armored Corps had lost all of its immediate strength, Calgario and the others had informed me. Considering that we eliminated all 940,000 of their generals, there couldn't possibly be any left. The last remaining Imperial units were the Mixed Corps and the Magic Beast Corps. The Mixed Corps, led by Yuki, was in a loose alliance with the Magic Beast Corps, which was being carried by the Air Assault Division of the Armored Corps and heading in a separate direction. Since my Argus can follow the airship's path, I estimated that it would take them longer than 3 days to arrive in my nation, even if it abruptly changed its course after that.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel.
Shout out to the new members of AnimeKouhai supporters: Zach Rosen, Byron, Steven Madison, Kim Man, Home Like Drop, Fuzzly Topador, Jared Bressler, 2345254, Judah Herrera, Piotr Midlowski. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.